Hi everyone, and welcome back to our humble abode. I hope this finds you all well. Here in the UK, spring is turning to summer. In the grim industrial north where I am, that usually means maybe a little bit less rain and a tiny little bit of sunshine if we're lucky. I haven't been doing too much in the game lately because I've got my 4 characters up to the cap, the ones I play regularly. I've got a sort of a tanky dwarf that you might have seen, a tanky dwarf paladin. I have my druid caster purple here. I've got the barbarian chains Shader that you've probably seen me demoing, as well as the ranged the arty. There are one or two others, particularly the Alchemist, although I know that has a higher skill ceiling than most, and I would probably fall flat on my face trying, but I really would like to try that. And one of the biggest reasons I don't has been mentioned recently in the forum, well, several times I think. This business with the messing about with re-gearing at the end game, well, finding the gear for a start, which can be a real pain with like the Mythdrana and whatnot, but most notably the jeweler's toolkits and the price of those things for swapping out your important augments. It's kind of non-negotiable, and that does become a real pain. That's the only thing I think that's stopping me at least try. I could respec this one into an alchemist and try that. The other thing that's stopping me, which dovetails nicely into the subject of today's discussion, on the caster side, is gearing a caster is painful in itself, but you're further hamstrung there by the fact that to gear for a different class of caster, it's an almost complete change. Whereas from one, let's say from one melee to another or one range to another, you'd be looking at very similar gear and using a lot of the same stuff. But for a caster like, let's take for instance the Alchemist, even allowing for the fact the main element would be the same, the cold, the DC, the spell school is different. That would be, what would it be? Conjuration, wouldn't it? Which the druid here doesn't use hardly at all. I think these lightning storm of vengeance things are conjure. Are they? No, it's saying evocation there. My bad. So I don't think there's a conjuration thing on my book at all there for him. But yeah, the re-gearing itself is tricky to say the least for casters, and gearing in general. But I'll come on to that in a little while. The reason I've chosen to make this, one or two of you might already be aware, there's substantial discussion been going on the Lemania forum before the implementation of this DC caster pass, or whatever it is they're calling it. I've had a read through what they intend to do, and a good chunk of the pages of the forum thread, not all of them, I think over the two updates to the pass that they've posted, I think there must be about 60 pages of user feedback. So I've tried to summarize a couple of the little points that were made in there. I think a lot of it's just going over the same thing, just phrased it a different way. And I thought it might be a nice thing to do, to just make a little snapshot of where we are now, and then revisit it if and when these changes do take place, and see just how many DC we've been able to get out of it. Probably a spoiler alert, I don't plan to re-gear for the reason already mentioned. That's just a total pain. I'll leave him with the gear that he has and just see what sort of difference the implementation makes. Maybe I'll put swap one or two of the augments around as befits the situation, see what we can do. So at the moment on the top on the evocation one, the top spells that he's got, the toughest to resist, he's got 112. We'll measure outside of Reaper and then we're consistent. So Burst of Glacial, the 0 degree comet, and I guess this one as well, Moonlands, all 112. So that's the yardstick we'll be judging against. The opinions in this forum, I mean, it's nice to have something. I think the reason the casters are getting something is that the complaints have been on the rise, given that we've now got this arcane trickster in the game who, as I mentioned in the trickster life that I did it, if you haven't seen it, I did it as a monk stick build, but I did invest into the disable device side for the excellent crowd control spells, stolen spell abilities or whatever they call them that they get, and I was able to reasonably easily have a DC in late heroic of 80, which to me is pretty prodigious for a late heroic character. And rough calculations, I think without even trying too hard, I would have been way over this 112 in legendary. And this is the bone of contention people have. It's not like I haven't done anything. I've tried quite hard on, you know, filigree and feats and gear as well, all different types of quality, profane, sacred, DC, all stacking up together, plus the things from Gianthold, the topazes of greater evocation and all that kind of carry on. So I haven't just thrown it all together and hope for the best, and yet I'm still, let's be generous and call it 20 points behind where a trickster could get reasonably effortlessly. I think the other thing is the trickster hardly has to make any compromise at all to get to that. I think, as I demonstrated, I had a belt from Gianthold with 6 exceptional disable device. Now to get 6 on my spell DC, that's 3 different items with this character. We have a, I think I can show you, we have a profane 2 on there, and somewhere else there is a sacred 2 on that one, and there'll be a quality 2 on the glasses. So 3 separate items just to get that the same as that 6. Also, on the feats side of things, the trickster is way ahead. You can choose the skill focus disable device. That gives you 3 more DC straight away. Nimble fingers, I think, is another 2. And I'm sure you'll be well aware that, oops, our feats for the castery things is giving us only 1 DC on 1 school only, which is beginning to feel pretty stingy, particularly in the light of what they're proposing for the gear side with this update 80. Just to clarify, it is only gear that's going to be affected. As far as I know, they're not planning to change anything to do with feats, be it in heroic here or the epic trees or feats. Nothing there is going to change as far as I know. I think one possible reason for that might be the substantial gap between your casual player, who may end up reaching legendary on a DC somewhere between 70 and 80, and the one who tries reasonably hard like me, who's in the 1-teens, and then you've got the real hardcore who are 120, 130. So you've got a really sizable gap there. Now, if you give these already tip-top players another 20 or 30 on top of what they've already got, it's going to be no fail, and even easier than what people are going on about now. So I think it's a bit of a conundrum for the developers, honestly, that. So I can understand if they don't do anything on that score and just leave it with the equipment. For those of you not aware, the plan is to increase, particularly at the cap, to increase the effectiveness of notably the single school stuff. So if I just do a comparison with what I'm using now, if I can press the right button, God, you can tell I've not played for a while. Okay, so these goggles I think are level 31 by default, so we wouldn't get the whole thing, but we can see there we've got an evocation focus 6. As far as I'm aware, that would go up to +9 for a level 31 item, and the insightful one would go another point, so that would be +4. The current at cap stuff, so level 34, I think you could get single school +11 and insightful +5. So there is quite a difference there. If you're prepared to, obviously it involves re-gearing to max level gear, which I'm not going to do. I could have the option there of Canith crafting a pair of max level goggles for those extra points, but honestly I'm not that desperate to completely max out the things, and these are a decent pair of goggles for his build anyway. One thing of note, they are, I think, well, basically we can say they're doing away with, as far as endgame is concerned, they're doing away with the gianthold augments, the greater topaz of a certain spell school, like that one there in the books, the topaz of greater transmutation, which have always given a stacking 2 bonus to a single spell school. They're now going to be an equipment bonus, so they won't stack with things like these goggles, for instance, Evo 6. So I think that I can see that being reasonably decent for leveling, because the level 16 one's going to be +5 to a single school, so that could be quite nice at level. But other than that, it's going to be useless at cap, because any school you want to focus on, you're bound to have now more than +6. So they're going to be redundant. It does mean in my case I'll have 3 slots free. So maybe I could put the new, or the not new anymore, are they? The dino things, I forget what they're called, but there's one in every spell school, isn't there? I guess those will be +9, will they now? So I guess if I don't want to re-gear, I'll just replace those gianthold with the dino ones and take a net +1 from that. Or in the cases where I already have it on the gear, it's not going to be a plus, it's going to be a negative, isn't it? A -2. So I can see why people in the forum are saying that it's not really going to benefit that much unless you really take the trouble to re-gear, which I'm not. Anyway, I'm not going to get bogged down in all that. I think what was I going to mention? Yeah, I think basically, if people want an easy to reach workable DC for the end game, the trickster is probably the way to go now, if you want to be able to crowd control things effectively and not put too much into the gear side. A couple of pieces of gear devoted to disable device and you'll be ready to rock and roll with a build like that. Plus you'll be able to do the traps and things as well. So yeah, what else have I got noted down here? I don't think there's too much else to mention. Right, I've given an idea of the numbers where we're at, so I just want to run through a couple of quests now. I will pick like one low-level legendary, one sort of middling, and one that's kind of current endgame level. At least that's the hope. So what are we saying? Level close to 30, then maybe mid-30s, and then 35 base, whatever. I think do it that way. And hopefully one thing it will do is illustrate the growing gap between the earlier content and the current endgame, and the issue the casters are facing. Hopefully you'll see, if I don't make too many horrible mistakes, that we'll do reasonably well on the early one, begin to see the damage tailing off in the middle one, and on the top one is going to be like headbutting a wall, I guess, damage wise. Anyway, we'll see. Where are we going? We're going to the hall, aren't we? For those of you interested in the build or the playstyle, I have done a video or two on the cold caster druid, so feel free to check those out. I'm not gonna cover any of that here. It's literally just to do to set like a baseline between now and when they do the change, see how much it benefits us. If they leave it as they've suggested, I honestly don't think it's going to benefit me with this setup too much, because as mentioned, I'm going to lose the 2 from the gianthold topaz. So on the evocation one, which is kind of the be all and end all for the cold druid, we already said we're going to, these goggles are going to a 9 and 4, so we gain 4 there, lose 2 from the topaz. So I think we might just end up with a net 2 on our evocation DC. So it's almost nothing. But that's to be confirmed.
You awake from your unexpected.
I mean, the other thing I
at first
hope to do
You're still at Winwood
is
Hall,
to illustrate the difference between these
that Lord Arden is missing,
different levels of play there is. As we expand into the mid, and I think later on this year it's going towards late 30s in levels, this gap between the lower legendary and the higher ones is going to get increasingly pronounced, and a build that might work reasonably well in, say, a quest like this might be found seriously wanting in the later stuff.
Teleports away. You see creatures near the gate to Winwood Hall.
So you can see we're damaging them relatively well there.
This isn't the Feywild.
Not prodigiously, but reasonably. Of course, anytime a Doom Reaper decides to pop up, that really does up the ante.
Lord Arden, reading a note with a worried expression on his face. The figure doesn't notice.
Come into my parlour. Okay. You know, beats the enemies and now struggles to pick up a lost soul. Still proudly sporting his 2 fish. If you didn't see the fish episode, one of them's a cosmetic, but the other one I am actually using. It's oh crud, wrong key. It's is it that one? Yeah, for the force, spell power and crit. And also the mystic diversion when I'm playing with others. He's been able to get a really decent level of diversion, so not to attract too much attention, which is lovely because he is pretty squishy. It's an evasion build, so I'm in light armor only, and my MRR particularly is lacking.
spot movement underneath the bridge. Moving closer, you see a nasty-looking troll guarding the missing loot. Bits of troll and drops of its blood splash into the river as the battle
Don't hurt
progresses.
us.
The pits grow rapidly into new bridge trolls that join the fight.
Deeper in there. Okay, don't forget the violin like you usually do.
You've recovered Hearsom's loot for the ritual.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I've not played too much lately, my two Bear Party colleagues, who I used to play with quite a lot for various reasons, have not been on much either, and it's not so much fun on your own. The other reason is the thing I would normally do alone, the sort of endless hamster wheel thing, has definitely lost its appeal to me. I think, as with anything, once you've done it like 10, 20, 50, maybe even 100 times, it's not quite the same as that first journey of discovery, is it? Now let's try not to get absolutely annihilated by these bears, which would start by not pressing the wrong key, please.
3 bears rest outside. Magical talking bears, no doubt. This is the Feywild, after all.
Oh, that's the worst one, and I've let it run free. Okay, we'll take that. Can we just please grab the soul? Thank you.
You've recovered the frosted cerise for
Right.
the ritual.
Invis.
You've recovered both the loot and the frosted cerise. Now, where has Melody hidden Lord Arden? You notice a pillar of
I just hugged
magical
this line of
energy
trees with this
streaming
one,
from a
and I know
distant
they'll be
portal.
coming after me. And
That
in
contains
true
the secret.
childlike style, I just adopt the attitude that if I don't look at them, then they're
approach the
kind of
portal
not
well,
there.
But a pixie flutters into your path.
She said to make sure you didn't make it to her. I won't let you get near them. I won't let him wake up.
The pixie smirks.
You won't get past my friends and me. So long as they are alive, their devotion will
What are you doing, sir?
eternally.
Is that gone? Okay, happy days. No? Is it not gone? What's happening here? Or did I try to go
Portal
through the
opens
wrong
as the
side?
pixie
Ah,
collapses.
okay.
In his last moments, he says,
You
Oh,
haven't
what now?
won yet. You still need
Okay,
the
I had it right
true
first time.
name.
You exit
Right,
the portal
let's try and
find
use
yourself in
our
a
time
strange,
stop
empty
against
hole.
her. Now, I think
Yet
she's immune
that
to lightning,
appears to
isn't
be
she? So
Lord
we'll just
Arden's
focus on the
resting
cold.
place ahead. Between you and Lord Arden stands Cadence the Hag. She must have been disguised as Melody the Apothecary the entire time.
Crikey, we didn't do much
Cadence
to her there, did
prepares
we?
for battle.
Thrust. Never know when to quit. I should have seen it. And trust the pixie to do a hag's work.
Cadence finishes the conjuring. Slimes emanating a frigid mist suddenly appear nearby.
Yeah, this is going to be a long old do.
So I'll have to make do with these
I think another thing, well, I don't think I know, another thing that people have been begging the developers to do for some time to somewhat alleviate the current plight of casters at the end game is to remove the extra penalty the casters get. In Reaper 7 and higher, if you didn't know, casters get more of a nerf than the other classes do. So 7 plus, we begin to really struggle. Add to that the fact this character isn't really spec for out and out damage, as evidenced by the fact that it is not using the draconic mantle, and we begin to see why I'm struggling here. We'll get there. Okay, happy days.
To surrender.
Alright, alright.
No, speak to her.
That's enough. You need what I have. So then, let's make a deal.
You've reluctantly decided to allow Cadence to live in exchange for Lord Arden's true name. You lay out the ingredients for the ritual and repeat the steps to reverse the curse. First, play the lute. Then, grind up the flower's roots. Last, burn the roots along with Lord Arden's true name. You play a brief melody on Hirsam's lute. You mash the
I was talking
roots
earlier
into a
about
pulp with
gearing
little effort.
for the casters and why it's so difficult.
set a small
You just have so many
then
different
drop the crushed
layers
roots and Lord Arden's
of
true
things
name into
to go through.
completing the
To
ritual.
squeeze it all in
As the
is very
smoke
difficult,
rises,
particularly
Lord
if, like
Arden's
me, you want to put
eyes
some
open.
defense on as well.
He
I've lost
springs out of the bed.
the
Lord
insightful
Arden
and quality
thanks you for
potency
awakening him
from
this
the
curse. He urges
sunken
you to speak with
sleepers
him back at
to
Wynwood
put these
Hall
very
in the
good
waking
defensive absorb boots on from Mithrandir. But that potency, particularly for a character like mine that's throwing around different, like I've no insightful force or electric, and those are two of my main elements. So you really do have to make some compromises on the gear side as things are at the moment. I know that's the essence of the whole thing anyway. Oh, crud, wrong key again. I keep thinking C is for character, and that's in another game. Yeah, apart from the boots though, almost all of it is geared towards offensive. But when we look into just what you need to be, even to be reasonably competitive, you need all your DC side of things, like on these glasses we've got the focus, insightful focus, quality focus, all this kind of stuff. And then you've got your stat, quality stat, insightful stat, blah blah blah, profane stat. Same for the spell focus mastery, we've got quality, profane, and all that, yeah, sacred. Then you've got your spell power for each different spell power. I mean, I suppose you could, there aren't too many about, but you could lower your overall spell power and economize on space in these things by going with potency, insightful, and quality, and then you do like one thing fits all, but you are lowering overall power. But the real problem, for me at least, comes with these crit damage. Now it's almost a full item's worth of slots with these dino ingredient type things, or if you want to use the legendary green steel, you can get the same thing, I think. For 35% extra crit damage, you need to spend three different slots on these items, and he has three different electric force and cold, obviously. So he's got three different, that's three slots on the gear spoken for straight away before we even start. And that's only the crit damage. That's nothing to do with crit chance, which you need as well, or the spell powers. So you begin to see why between spell school, spell power, crit chance, and crit damage, and for all these different positive force, electric, and cold, they are all those bases need to be covered in an ideal world. As I've already mentioned, some of the spell power ones are not because of these boots, but I think as things stand at the moment, at least, you're either going to use a potency item or items to save some space, or you're going to be down on power. The only one I've got the max power on is his main one, the cold, which is sitting at a reasonably respectable 1100 there, because I've put it on the trinket. We've got the insightful glaciation there, and then on the secondary scepter we've got quality and exceptional cold power. So the cold is done reasonably well, but if you look at the others, there's quite a drop off, bearing in mind we are wanting to have decent force and, well, force positive and electric we'd like to be reasonably high. Those are at least 100 lower than I would like to see them, but it's just had to be that way. I couldn't fit everything in. Right, end of the crying. Let's go and do the middle quest. I've chosen the tar pit in the dino area for this one. First, because you can teleport straight to it, and second, because it's one where I can move about a bit if the shit really does hit the fan, and try and stay alive. Let's try not to forget to pick up the quest before we go in, eh? I think even, it has to be said, even on the lower level there, I'll leave it on Reaper 8 all the way through the demo just for consistency's sake. But even on that that low one, we could see that against bosses or well, she was a rather specific case, the hag, because she was immune to all the electric, but again, and she was resistant to the cold, I think. But against other reasonably tough stuff, we certainly weren't. We weren't one-shotting anything, were we? Nothing. Just chipping them down by degrees. Right, tar pits. Where are we?
The pungent smell of asphalt pervades these bubbling tar pits. Many creatures have met their end in the sticky substance. And yet for some reason,
Ugh.
there's a small ruined shrine in the middle of it all.
Just demonstrated how to make a complete balls of getting to the quest. Right, so yeah, the one thing this quest does afford us is the freedom to move around. If something really horrible comes, hopefully we can use our wings to try and help us survive. I'm deliberately not mentioning the Doom Reaper by name in the something really horrible category, because invariably when I do he just pops up, so...
Someone within the Tar Ogre tribe has been harnessing the power of the nearby continent to create monsters. It must be stopped.
Come on then, people, in you come. So I think almost immediately we see that we're having a bit more trouble grinding these down, whatever they are. And I think we'll see as well, I think we saw it there were a couple of saves, weren't there? Not too much was saving in the first quest, but I fully expect things to start doing it here. I brought a bubble too. Okay. Right, now here we're going to test our... I think this is... Oh god, it's 96 in Reaper. Oh, that's really not good, is it?
This bubbling tar pit is strewn with rocks that can be jumped across, though falling in is not recommended.
Can we just kill you? Oh, that'll do. Are they rangers, so they should have a reasonably weak... let's try that again. Worked once, could work again. Ouch, wrong key. Now then, who knows, because I sure as hell don't, if an elemental fury has Death Ward. Ah! Happy days. My god, that was our two biggest attacks and we couldn't even kill it with them. So the fact that they are susceptible to our Finger of Death is quite helpful there. Come back into the lightning field, sir. Okay. I'm really pleased they fixed that zero comet to at least do half damage now when the opponents save. That was becoming really frustrating. Okay, happy days. Oh crikey, I was not ready for them. Let's try not to hit too much the Vengeance Reaper. Can you just stay here and we go and deal with the rest? He's upset, look, about being left out. Actually, just for a change, I thought I dealt with that one reasonably well. Now, can we pick one or
An
two
even
of these
larger
off with
tar
the
pit blocks the
Finger
way
of Death?
forward.
No, crud.
The tar surges fiercely, causing rocks to surface, then submerge. Jumping across is possible, though dangerous.
What about you? Yeah, that works. I think the rest of them we're going to have to... Oh, there's a carnage up there as well. Can we... I'm not close enough. Oh, can he... Is he going to teleport to us? I'm hoping he is. Right. That's just lovely. Now, those guys are already active. If I go invisible, am I going to be able to go across unmolested, do we think? I'm hoping so. That'll do. Oh crud, that was bad. I was trying to stay away from the archers in the previous room and took a real shot there, didn't I? Okay, ponderous, but we got there. Oh, wrong damn key again. Again, our two biggest attacks on an opponent that was prepared, that was gonna take more from cold, and still they didn't bring it down. I should have chosen the what's that all fire elemental one in the gatekeeper chain. If you had have had a chance on that. I think that's one of the very few quests I've ever completed on Reaper 10. It's just too spiky for me, the Reaper 10. It makes me laugh sometimes how some of the people in the forum, they complain that Reaper 10 people are sailing through it too easily, but they're playing on meta builds, you know, with souped up gear and all that kind of thing. So what do you expect? But the lion's share of the player base will rarely, if ever, play on that difficulty, and I think that's another problem the developers have with the balance. There are some people who I see posting on the forum who never play higher than elite, and that's fine, that's a choice. It does mean that you don't have to spend as much time worrying about gear, Tetris and all that kind of carry on. And as one person replied to my video some time ago about maximizing experience, that isn't the goal of many people. They just want to log in and play and not be bothered about how many XP I'm getting for this or that, and that's fine too.
Chanting before a druidic altar.
To me, there are
is the
two
Tar
sides.
tribe's
When
high
you're
song.
leveling, you're
As the chant
not
completes,
kind of hoping to be there forever, are you?
monstrosities
You're
of tar and
leveling with,
flame
well, I'm
rise to
leveling with a
attack.
view to getting to the cap and seeing what I can do, usually. So that's the exciting bit, the arrival at the cap. Whereas to some people, the leveling thing, the journey is the fun part, and fair play. Let's see if we can just grab this one on his own. Don't land in the tar, you muppet. Actually, I could have tempted him to walk into the tar, couldn't I? That would have been handy. Let's go for the fire one first. Don't quite know what happened there. I tried to cast a fire vulnerability thing on. Now, could I do a fire cold here? Just in case he hits me. Oh, well done. Word of balance against an elemental. Pro gameplay here, as ever. Right, let's get you with the cold things on. Now, what are you doing? Are you going to come into... Oh, he's going to wander through the muck. All right. I think we've got him. Yep, nice job.
The Tar tribe won't be able to
So,
crave more
I
of
don't
these
know. Was there
monstrosities.
too much more of an effort to bring things down there? I guess it depends on the types of things as well, doesn't it? Maybe the things I faced in the first one, in the Fae quest, perhaps they had quite a bit of magic resistance. Let's go for the last one now. I've chosen one in the harbour. I'm choosing this one because this one we did so many times. This is where the fish sticks, the famous fish sticks, came from. We were looking for the trinket. I think it's some kind of cold trinket for such a long time for one of our group's end gear, and it just would not drop. But in that time, we did accumulate an array of I think there are 3 different fish sticks he ended up with out of this quest. It's just down here at the bottom of the harbour, isn't it? I think is it called swimming with the fishes? appropriately enough. Sleeping with the fishes, okay. So this is going to be our sort of barometer as to, so this is 35 base, so it's going to be 37. So it's going to show us a little bit more how much more resistant the opponents are to our efforts. I can see us doing a lot of ice flower spam here when everything else is on cooldown. Okay, who do we speak to? You? Am I even going the right? Oh, do you know, I've got the map here. Of course I'm going the right way.
You hear a commotion up ahead. Is this the right time to intervene?
It's always the right time to intervene, people. Okay. So what we want to be looking out for as well is increased amount of opponent saves, which I'm pretty sure we will get at some stage here. Hopefully it won't lead to deaths. See that ice thing, I put a big shot into that and it barely even blinked. Yeah, I suppose that's normal, isn't it? I'm throwing cold at it and it's very resistant to that. Wake up, boy. Don't suppose. No chance. I can't complain at that. I haven't invested anything into the Finger of Death. I don't even think I've got... I think... Does the gear have some kind of general spell focus mastery? I think I do. But possibly with the new changes I could throw a +9 necro augment in there. So although it's not going to help my evocation noticeably, it might help some of the outlying things. I've always loved the effects that come with the cold druid, the shattering of all the ice as the enemies die and that kind of thing. Big fan of that, immersion wise. Come on, do some dying. I think we've got a good illustration there of just how tough these things are to chip down. Right, okay, we need to prepare here, don't we? Okay.
A group of kobolds guard the entrance here. They seem wary of strangers, but they don't attack.
There's a thing at the back that's really taking some doing. Hero. Oh, and this guy, look, he's just walking through everything. He still came through. Did you see that? I did a burst of Glacial, which is... What is it in Reaper? 118. You can add 4 to that for the fact there was snowstorm thing going on in there. So 122 and he still laughed at it. So that's a good illustration of some of the issues at the end game at the moment. Doing everything I can to make the targets a bit more pliable for when I get there, because I know full well if I end up getting touched by 1 or 2 of these things, that's going to be over in a hurry. Well, I'm a little bit unclear as to what constitutes completing this side. I think if we defeat one more kobold, I think we're allowed to go to the other side. So let's not open up anything that we don't need to here. Oh my god, I think that counts as something we don't need to. We'll just leave that. Let's try this middle one instead. If he comes marching out, we're absolutely dead meat, but let's hope not. See again, they've come charging through the CC. And again, through the burst of Glacial there, the supervisor. Trying two different types of save there with between the colour spray and the Glacial. And they're just walking through it, aren't they? Let's try the earthquake. Oh my god. Yeah, so this is really struggling on the save side here. I think we only got that one stopped because I have a feeling the Moon Lance at the moment doesn't allow the opponent to save. But yeah, that was painful. Absolutely painful. So our main strategy of kind of blocking an area up and dealing with it that way is not working at the moment because these things are just wandering straight through. So we've got defeat the kobolds. I think now's the time to go across to the other side and see what we can do there. If memory serves, we can just, if we can get to the other side, we can just parlay our way through that one. I think the only decent form of CC I have at the moment in here is that that tar bubble that's occupying them and taking some attention. I'm not able to stop them effectively at all. So that is a noticeable change from the two previous quests in terms of DC needed. I have a feeling all these are going to come alive and annoy me, so I thought I'd better trigger them. Okay, job done. Come on, we can't have far to go now, can we? We do at least have a shrine here if the worst happens. Again, oh, it's a soul of ice, isn't it? That's why that went wrong. Whoa! Crud. Did at least stop that one. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to go through this lot. Yeah, my two best shots, the Moon Lance and the Comet, are not enough to kill regular minions on this level, so that is showing somewhat our current plight. Although one would have to bear in mind as well, I haven't built this without an out damage in mind. I've tried to focus somewhat on the DC side, and you can see that even with that, we are struggling. Which obviously leads to more spell point expenditure. In fact, look at that. Wow, Okay. Well, I'm hopeful that maybe that's the end of it, but just in case there's something nasty lurking down there, I'll take the liberty of adding one or two.
The Sahuagin are guarding something here. They try to stare you down.
That would
The
be lovely.
Sahuagin
Okay, so
usher
but we
you in.
can, so they won't fight us, but we can still get reapers and things down here. So let's be on our guard. Be gone, vile beast. I'm quite pleased with that. To hold the despair, you're going some. It tells you just how high the saves are on the regular minions in here for them to be higher than the despair. So what's happening? We're looking for the key person down here, and I think it can be in any one of the three, can't it? Is there a reaper down there? Yes. Why did I even go down there? There wasn't anything here. Ah. Oh, there is. There's a thing we need to... Oh, happy days. Okay. So what do we do here? The easy intimidate? Okay, so all we have to do now is get back to the tower. As far as I am aware. It says investigate 2 disturbances, but I don't think you need to do that. I think you can just go straight back to the tower. And if that is the case, I will happily take that. Can we just retrace along the way we've already come? That would be the most prudent. I know, Brian, I've left the shrine. Under normal circumstances, I'd have used it there, but I'm hoping that we're literally just on our way back to the tower and no more fun and games to be had. Might not have escaped your attention that I've chosen one without an end boss here. Was it on purpose? No, not really. I just
From the
picked this
top of
one
the
because I know
stairs,
well what we're
Dravast
doing with
calls
it.
out.
See, it takes a professional to take out the trash.
And I wimped out of
Do
facing
better
the Doom
next
Reaper, of
time.
course. But if it's Doom Reaper you want, I think I had a Doom Reaper encounter in the little video I made, sort of illustrating the build and the strategy for this. We got an item. What did we get there? Haggle and tumble. Wow. Oh, an extra carry capacity too. Mega item. We'll take it. Okay. Well, I think pretty much as expected. I won't say we sailed through the earlier stuff, but most of the stuff was working in terms of our CC, and we were doing reasonable damage. Then when we got into that last one, it was like shelling peas, wasn't it? We were just like chipping away at stuff. It was quite tough, and the spam of the ice flowers was much more evident in that last one. But I think that my biggest takeaway from that is just how easily they were walking through our CC. Now, bearing in mind we were always throwing down the Ice Storm as a lead, that would give them an extra 4 penalty on reflex save for us having, where is it? For us having the Mantle of the Icy Soul on. So our effective DC was 122, and we just couldn't even stop the minions in there, could we? So that kind of tells its own story. So we'd to be making a difference there, I guess we would need somewhere between 5 and 10 extra DC, which I don't think we're going to get from this change. You could, if you were prepared to re-gear and make the most of the things at the current cap, the 34, or let's say the 36 when that comes, because I don't think that's too far away, is it? But in my case, not being prepared to re-gear, I think the most I can get extra on the Evo might be just 2, which isn't really going to make much of a difference. I think the best thing we can have is boosting our lesser ones, our transmutation, which I should have settled on these as well, because they are important. That's our Ice Flowers 101, so that's a big difference already. And the third one, the Illusion 102. So those two can use a little bit of love, and maybe they'll get some. Maybe the gap will close a bit. Although there is, just thinking of the gear again, we do have illusion focus, so that illusion focus might go up to an 8 or a 9, because that's an individual spell school, isn't it? If that was a level 34 item, that would go to an 11. I don't think we have a transmutation focus. I think that's an augment at the moment. Oh, it's there, look, transmutated topaz of transmuted power. So I think that will probably go from a 6 to a 9, if I understand things right. So we'll maybe get between. I don't think it's going to be mega impressive. I think we'll be getting between 2 and 4 on most of our DCs that are important to us, because the gianthold ones are no longer relevant. We'll be getting 3 slots, so I could definitely put a necro 9 in there to give us a somewhat meaningful finger of death against the crappy little archers and casters. But other than that, I don't see that it's going to benefit us too much. So I guess too long didn't listen would be I haven't really shown any caster players anything they didn't already know, which is that the caster struggles at the cap to land the DCs. I mean, it's all the more fuel for the argument to go and try the trickster and try a DC in the 130s or 140s and get some reliable stopping power there. Because yeah, I think there was ample illustration there, no matter what I put down, between the Glacial and the colour spray. They were marching through it, weren't they? So that was quite an eye-opener. Okay, so that's going to be our baseline, and hopefully I'll be back in a week or two when they do this update. Have a little discussion on what I've been able to do, see how many extra DC we've been able to glean, and if indeed it makes much of a difference. I guess in terms of damage, there is a little bit of extra damage to be had, but most people are arguing that the removal of the Reaper nerf and possibly some consolidation on the caster damage gear in general would be more helpful than the DC boost. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much as always for looking. Happy questing, and I'll speak to you next time. Take care.